Hello friends, I am Sanyukta and today we are going to be learning another Zentangle original pattern, and the name of the pattern is Verdigogh. Yes, the name and the look is inspired from the pine tree plant. The pattern looks very organic, just like the pine tree if you have ever seen the leaves. So I am just going to show you how the basic pattern looks like. So I am drawing here a stem, and then I am going to draw some more stems shooting out from the center stem, right, like this. And then what I am going to do is I am going to draw another layer of stems going under the initial one, like the Verdigogh effect, drawing behind. So I have added a second layer of stem, right? Then again adding one more layer in the space that is left in between, right? And then again adding one more layer, drawing behind wherever there is a space, right? Again drawing behind the second layer, crossing the first one, right? So this is the basic shape that I am drawing, which is part of the original tangle. Doing the same exercise on the other side just to show a few. Again drawing a few stems coming out of the main center stem, right? And then a second layer crossing the initial stem like this, drawing behind, right? And then again, since you can see spaces in between, drawing another layer, drawing another layer, drawing another layer, then again crossing it like this, right? So that's the basic pattern, Verdigogh, inspired from the pine tree leaves found at high altitudes, right? So now how can you create variations or tangulations in the original pattern? Again, this is the basic pattern. If you want to play around, just change the shape of the leaf, right? You can draw it like this. Again the second layer crossing like this, right? Again the second layer crossing like this, right? So you can create n number of variations, as I always keep telling you. If you again draw Verdigogh this way, you can add weight to the line here. That also add to the look of the original tangle, adding some weight to the lower line, right? Again a variation, adding some weight to the lower line. Or you can also add some weight to the center line. Looks good. Again, just to give you a few examples, Verdigogh with poke root, Verdigogh with poke leaves, Verdigogh with any other shape you wish to, right? So some people also draw small leaf like shapes like this to create a variation, small leaf like shapes like this. Again, what is worth remembering here is the way Maria and Rick have shown the step outs for the pattern is that you first draw lines coming out like this, right? And then the second layer crossing the first layer like this, right? Again you go with the third layer, again the fourth layer crossing like this, right? If you follow this process, then you will never mess up with your verdigogh, right? So in front of me is my 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch tile. If you can see, I have drawn a rough string here, just like I'm going to be inking it slowly along with my tangle. So if you can, I hope you can see the string here. So the outer string that I have made, I'll be drawing the pattern bunzo here and two vertigoes on these lines, the bunzo kind of cuddling the vertigoes, right? So I'm going to start right away with my bunzos. And then we'll move on to my vertigoes, right? So I am planning to draw a pretty bulky bunzo here on this line. Again, leaving a highlight in between. If you wish, you can ink it completely and then use your white charcoal, as I mentioned in my previous session on bunzo, right? So now that we know a couple of tangles, it's a good idea to combine a few. So I thought of combining bunzo with the organic pattern verdigogh, right? So I'm going to draw this bunzo this way, right? Follow the string, or probably overlook it at few places if I need to, right? So you can see here I have completed inking my bunzo, right? So now I'm going to be moving on to my vertigoes. So kind of cuddled by the bunzos, right? So going to be using a tangulation here. Right? Adding a little weight at the ends. Again, adding a little weight at the end of the leaves, right? You can also draw it the other way if you wish, like this, whichever way you are comfortable, right? So you can see here I have already added one layer. Right? Now I'm going to be adding the next layer. So with very gentle hand, take your time, no hurry. Just add the second layer, crossing the first one, drawing under as I showed you, right? Little weight at the end. Right? Adding the second layer, drawing behind and crossing the first one that I have drawn, right? Again, yeah. Now the other side. Again, crossing the original, drawing behind, take your time. You can add as many layers as you wish to, depending on the space available, right? So I think I'll just add one or two more here, wherever I can find a little space, right? One or two layers more here, here, yes. And then starting with the other side, again the same exercise, adding little weight at the end. Right? You can draw your vertigo the way the basic pattern has been given. Entirely up to you. This is a kind of a tangulation. Again, drawing behind. Drawing in that whatever space I have. Right? Yeah. And then comes the second layer. So I'm going to cross it over like this. Take your time. Don't be in a hurry. Enjoy each stroke. Right? I'm just drawing under, adding the second layer. And then depending on the space available to me, I may or may not add the third layer, right? So I have already added 2 layers. Again this side, crossing over whatever space I have. Again crossing over. Yes, now we have added 2 layers. If you wish, you can add some 1 or 2 more here and there, but I don't see too much space here. I don't want it to look very cluttered, right? So just adding 1 more layer in between, but I don't intend to cross it. Right, so done with my vertigo. Right, yeah. So now what I am going to do is just create few spaces here and there. Right. Probably I'm going to turn this a little bit. Yes. And now just fill up the rest of the space the way you want. So we have already learned the pattern fescue, right? So just going to be using it here, the pattern fescue. You can see here I'm drawing some fescues here. Right, and then I'm going to be outlining them, adding an aura. You can see I'm just adding an aura to the small fescues that I've drawn. We have already learned how to draw fescue. Yes. And now just fill up the rest of the space. With some tipple. Comes easily to your rescue whenever you need it. Right. Just going to add some tipples in the leftover space. Right. So you can see by now we have already combined Banzo with Verdigogh, and I have also introduced tipple here, right? So you can do this exercise in these areas also, right? You can see I am just adding an aura to the small fascicles that I have drawn. We have already learned how to draw fascicule. Yes. And now just fill up the rest of the space. With some tipple. Comes easily to your rescue whenever you need it, right? Just going to add some tipples in the leftover space. Right. So you can see by now we have already combined Banzo with Verdigogh, and I have also introduced tipple here, right? So you can do this exercise in these areas also, right? Here I have used fescue and tipple and filled in the little bit spaces that were left here and there. And now let's go ahead and shade our Banzo and our Verdigogh, right? So Banzo, as I have shown you earlier also, I will be shading on one of the edge, right? We have already highlighted the center, so we will shade till the center, and the rest we will highlight using our white charcoal, right? Yes, just going to blend it. Right, and then comes a little graphite on the inside, just to give a highlight to my vertigo, which is starting from the inside, right? So a little darker graphite on the inside. And then for the vertigo, just going to highlight my stem. Not adding much of shading here. Just going heavy on my stem. I'm going to blend it. Right. I think that's enough to highlight my vertigo. Yes. And a little shading on the, just a touch on the corners where we have used article and fescue, right? You can leave it empty, you can fill it up any other way. Just wanted to show another simple way in which fescue and triple can be used. So thought of using it in the tile, right? We're just going to blend it. Same exercise. Again. As you can see here, I am taking the graphite a bit outside of this line also, right? And then here just feel like adding one leaf here. Yes, so we are now going to highlight our banjo with our white charcoal, adding a highlight on the other side of the banjo with my white charcoal. Yes, right. So you can use another blending stump. Just take away the excess chalk if you wish to. And some highlight on the fescues, right? And that's the pattern Verdigogh. with Bunzo, right? So I am going to initial my tile now. Yes, and sign and date it. And we'll meet again with another Zentangle original pattern. Till then, stay safe. Goodbye.